Hey, Gun. Yeah. They know what time it is.
I got so much energy.
Gun Decker, you know how we coming, yeah, it's run DFS where we don't just play it, we run it. Weather for the long, couple dawns, a couple of buckets, guarantee the chat. Check a bag like we carrying luggage around here. Everybody fam, we don't care about the budget around here. You can turn your cash to a couple of hundred around here. No days off, every day we be hustling. Tell them good luck, God bless, go win you some money. Get a pen and a pad and come see where it really take you. Went from 50-50 cash in a hit in the milli maker. Got the updated news and the status on any player. The chalk of the night, do we lock it or do we fade it? They ask me how I'm doing, I tell them I feel it blessed. If you want a slow grind, go place a single bet. Trying to get rich, parlays or boost the odds. Soon you'll be cashing and dancing with the stars. NBA, NFL, the MLB up in VIP, balling like we want a GPP. 15 minutes to lock, and there's a DMP, no sweat. We gon' figure that out and we'll still bing. But remember that it's a marathon and not a race. You gotta put your heart in it no matter how long it takes. 8, 9, 10 next got me sitting in first place. Top value player of the day, let's
Huh. I was double muted, chat. That's dumb. I forgot the other day I did a show with Chronic and I had to mute on this end. So I just did an intro. Shout out to me and the lip readers, bro. You lip readers just got a fire intro. Oh, that's tough. That's tough. Anyway, key news to watch as of today. That's great. What up, Aaron? What up, Justin? What up, Colin? Maine, AOD, Fear Money. I can relive. He says sign up for. There you go, Dennis. You got it. Oh, man. That's crazy. My bad, Gary. We good now, right? You got me? Y'all good? Chat, let me know you can hear me. All right. We're good. Yeah. So I usually carry a mute button on my headset. But I forgot the other day I did a show with Chronic, and on Streamlabs, there's a input mute, and it was on. That's on me. My bad, chat. Anyway, Steph Curry looks like he's going to play. Joel Embiid, maybe not. Luka Doncic is probable. Klay Thompson probable. Yusuf Nurkic probable. Gordon Hayward doubtful. PJ Tucker probable. Torrey Craig questionable. There's so many bits of information that we're going to get through here as we go forward. I guess you missed the drop. So we've been doing these I don't know if they're flash promotions, whatever we call it. We did one the other day on the show with me and Chronic, the First Look show. Today, there's another one. So for today only, every subscription on the site you can get for 20% off. This is only people that are in this stream that would know it, by using the coupon code JAN10, Jan 10, like January 10, today's date. That'll get you 20% off of every membership. It actually eliminates over $100 off the year pass. So $479 for the year pass, which covers the rest of NBA, football, the most of next football season, all of baseball, and still comes with a $150 credit towards Fantasy Cruncher. So JAN20, that's today only, and it will not be advertised anywhere other than this stream. So it's something we're doing to track traffic. And yeah, so we'll talk about that again later on in this stream. But let's get the RunDFS.com NBA VIP spreadsheet going, and we gotta do some research, man. We gotta get into this slate. What up, King of all trades? What up, EB here? I hope you guys are doing all right. Also on my second screen, let me open up chat. You guys been all right? How'd you guys do last night? I was happy to see that there was a decent slate today, because soon the second my schedule opens up and I want to get a schedule going, more stuff just unloads on me, man. It's been ever since New Year's. It's been kind of rough over here, in terms of busyness and real life stuff. All right, let me open this open, and then usually Tuesdays and Thursdays don't expect a big slate. So when I saw today was a sizable slate, I was like, oh, cool. I can actually do some stuff. So here we are doing stuff. I'm being VIP balling like I want a GPP. Let's go. You hear the song. All right, let's go. Pistons at the Sixers. Let's just get in it. Project 35 for the Pistons. Killian Hayes, Jay Nivey, Ham Diallo, Sadiq Bey, Isaiah Stewart. Taking on James Harden, DeAnthony Melton, Tobias Harris, PJ Tucker, Joel Embiid. We got 225 total, a 12.5 point spread in favor of the Philadelphia 76ers. We do have tags on Tucker and, more importantly, Joel Embiid. So let's go open up the NBA. Oh, man, where's the NBA real world depth chart? The news depth chart I use is from NBC Sports Edge. It used to be Roto World. And we'll see what the latest on Joel Embiid is. More than likely, it's going to be one of those 30 minutes before lock, hour before lock, and Doc Rivers. Yeah, he's gonna warm up, see if he can give it a go. And then Joel Embiid will play it and drop 70. And everyone's going to be wanting to play Harden. And then when Embiid is in, everyone's just going to pull out. And then Joel Embiid's going to drop a 7% 70 bomb or something stupid. We've seen this story before. Let's go Philly. Questionable. Big man has missed 3 straight games. Blah, 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 blah. All right. So if he can't go, and if PJ Tucker can't go, it would seem like he's been ruled out for Sunday. Oh, that was from Sunday. It would seem like Montrezl Harrell is inevitable. Maybe the field finally gets their Paul Reed game. So I guess that's something we're keeping an eye on. And then, of course, we know if Embiid can't go, James Harden per minute, buck and a quarter to greater, 1.5 with like a 40% usage rate, 40% assist rate, dumb stuff. So it'd be a huge spot for James Harden. Point guards against Detroit has just been a Honeywell all season. It kind of assumed that the 12.5 point spread presumes that Embiid's going to play with Harden. But if he didn't, it would be a monster spot for Harden. If both of them were active with this type of spread, if I wanted to get here, I might drive a wedge between them. You know, no lineups with Harden should have Embiid and vice versa. But for the most part, I couldn't expect me to be overly invested in either one individually, just because of the spread. Looking at the Pistons side, they are down Marvin Bagley, Bogdanovich, and Jalen Duren. And I got to assume that Bogdanovich is one of the catalysts in such a lopsided spread. 31 minutes per game coming off the board, 21 points per game coming off the board with a 25% usage rate. So we do need to replace that production and fill those minutes somehow. We also know Marvin Bagley represents a decent chunk of minutes per game. So does Jalen Duren. So they're significantly shorthanded for what they've been running out this year. So I guess it is worth going to do a little bit of investigating on what might alter, but I don't know. We'll see. What up, Crispy? Hope you're doing all right. Sixers should whack. Yo, I was talking about this yesterday in the Discord voice chat. I feel like I'm every time I expect a complete blowout, it's like the Celtics against the SGA-less Thunder, or the Bucks against the Hornets without ever, and then the Bucks get smoked. It's like, man, the wrong side tends to get blown out for me. But yes, the Sixers should mop the floor with this version of the Detroit Pistons. I mean, they should beat them regardless. Man, I don't even know if we're gonna have any type of sample size here. I gotta assume all roads are gonna lead to Jay Nivey and like Alec Burks looking like really decent plays. I think Alec Burks would probably be the most intriguing to me. But I mean, I guess we could try to take off some of these boys. Bojan. I don't even know. Let's just take off Bojan and Cunningham, right? What up, Brandon? Do you know if you have to claim? Or Miva, I'm not sure what that means, buddy. Ivy 1.2 fantasy points per minute, 162 minutes of action without Bojan or Cade Cunningham, 33% usage rate. So as we presumed, Rhodes pointing his way. Sadiq Bey also projects better, over 0.9 fantasy points per minute. Usage rate is meh, but in this spot, I think it's a pretty likely outcome that he could push 30 plus minutes with that front court being as depleted. Like I said, I think a guy like Alec Burks kind of is intriguing to me in tournaments. Just if we play the blowout scenario, we play him being the spark off the bench, he's probably one of the more competent scorers that can make up some of this ground that they're missing. But it's a rough spot all the way through and through. I gave Isaiah Stewart 36 minutes. I don't know that I can trust him to be on the court that long, keeping his hands to himself. But this is certainly an opportunity without Bagley, without Duren, for him to play 30-plus minutes. We've seen him do it in 3 games straight, including 35 minutes against Philly last game. Remember, there was no Embiid in that game. So the one foul could, trend upwards. But in that game, we saw a 40 fantasy point game. So I guess one of the net positives for this game, if we're chasing some DFS goodness, would be if Embiid is down, it looks better for Isaiah Stewart. I think we take a shot on Stewart no matter what, but it certainly feels like it becomes way more volatile if he's up against a high usage big, Let's get caught up on chat. What is going on? Miles Sanders, Oh no, we got NFL street drama bleeding into us. We're just up here in this little NBA DFS church, and a street fight just tumbled through the double doors. Dear God, someone get the holy water. Get them out of here. Relax, boys. So yeah, the Embiid news means everything here. It is the only game at the 7 p.m. lock time. So even if we're panicking on whether Embiid plays or not, we still get a 30-minute grace period where we can just reconstruct our approach to the slate. So in a way, it's convenient. So hopefully we do get that Embiid news quick enough. And Doc Rivers, it says that Joel Embiid's gonna give it a go, and we'll play 8% of Embiid and Harden. Thanks, Jen. Stay accountable. It's smoke. All right, let's move on to the 7:30 p.m. game. I didn't write a total for this. What is wrong with me? Why would I do this? Hello? Let's see. I think right when I was doing this game, my DoorDash showed up. We got McDonald's hot chocolate, and we added espresso. So that's how we roll. Two, and another one 2 is our total here, with a 2-point spread. So this game will not be annoying at all. We got the Thunder rolling out. SGA, Josh Giddey, Lou Dort, Jalen Williams, Kenrich Williams, the projected starting 5 up against, dear God, Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, Jimmy, G, Buckets, Haywood, Highsmith, Orlando Robinson. Some lineup projections have Victor Oladipo starting. Any which way you slice it, this is going to be a pretty limited list of available players. So a lot of eyes are going to be on the Heat in a favorable spot, and somehow still favored to win this game against a Thunder that looks significantly more healthy, especially having their quarterback under center. So Jimmy Butler would be the likeliest beneficiary of every other starter essentially being out. The sweepstakes on who else is going to be a fantasy contributor can probably get pretty trolly here, but I do think when we open up that Discord voice chat and Fish Fan says, hey Gun, who we playing 3 from? I think the Miami Heat are a snap call of a team that you want your opto to be able to open up 3. And I wouldn't push back if you said, hey, I think I'm going to get 4 Miami Heat players, because it does look like if we're distributing minutes, especially if we get some more information. I also had tags on Dedmon, Vincent, Haslam, whatever. Let's see if there's something else on Gabe Vincent, because if Gabe Vincent goes down, then it's just crazy. There may not be nothing here. Let's go see if DraftKings had something on Gabe the Babe. Do you feel like Siakam gets too popular and people avoid Embiid? I feel maybe yes, but I also feel like in this scenario we've seen it play out a few times where people are watching the Sixers news, with their finger over the James Harden button, and then when Embiid gets rolled in, people just get off of Harden and they don't play Embiid, and then Embiid drops an obvious 70 or something like that. So possible. I don't have a big pulse on ownership yet. Where was Siakam at? I don't see Siakam in the top 20, 14. Yeah, I don't see Siakam. I think the ownership is in this game, so I don't know that Siakam becomes something that the Phil gets tunnel vision on. Or I wouldn't. From this far out, it doesn't look like it. So what do we need to do here? I don't even know how to process the Heat. I guess we'll just put Butler on, and I'm not gonna put Vincent, blah blah blah. We'll just take off the heavy usage teammates. We'll take off Hero, I guess Lowry, Adebayo. If we took all the people that are actually off, there shouldn't be any sample size. So I'm just going to take out the big boys. I think no matter which way we slice it, Jimmy Butler probably has a 40% usage rate, 1.5 fantasy point per minute. Something stupid like that, right? .3 fantasy point per minute, 26% usage rate. That's a lot lower than I guess I obscurely projected. Only 107 minutes of sample size, but this is still like a very attackable. And that's type of like 10, 11K stuff. He's 9K, 8,900 on DraftKings. So I'm expecting Jimmy Butler to be the like highest owned stud guy. Tons of minutes on him, no matter who else plays. If Gabe Vincent can't go, DK had the tag on him. Let's see if they have a blurb on his questionableness. Knee is probable, so he's gonna play. So I guess it comes down to what's the starting lineup, because like I said, I've seen some sites project Victor Oladipo. Either which way, I think everyone that is in shape, right, is gonna probably have a real chance at 30 plus minutes. We got a drastic price discrepancy between Orlando Robinson on FanDuel and Orlando Robinson on DraftKings. There's $100 above min price over there. So I expect him to come in pretty high owned at that price point in a positive matchup. I think last time Kenrich Williams started for the Thunder, I looked him up and he's like 6'6". So they don't really have a true center that would push back. And we've seen Robinson be pretty hefty per minute. On FanDuel, I guess there's a case against him even as a starter. It's not a big case at 5,700, but at 3,100, boy, is that hard to push back on. Kind of the same with Gabe Vincent, 3,300. I mean, I think you're Miami Heat stacking in cash without a doubt. And I think it comes down to, do you want 3 or do you want 4? and you go from there. Then we run it back here with some SGA exposure. I wouldn't point and laugh at you. 10 plus K, probably want the 50, 60 plus. In the soft run for player projections, how high did SGA come up? Let's sort from greatest to least. Oh, apparently I was typing on the wrong window. Hold on. DK projects. Fiery in chat today. What does an Oladipo ceiling game look like? Can he get 50 DKP? I think my question with Oladipo is, what does his minute ceiling look like? You know what I mean? And I guess it's fair to expect that we've seen him play 35 minutes. So if 35 minutes is in the tank, I think 50 is certainly there. Utah Jazz is a higher scoring affair typically, right? They're faster and their defense is typically worse. He offered 45 in that game. So I would say, 50 fantasy points is probably what the ceiling looks like for Depot. Obviously, we don't even need that 50, but I think 30 is a very realistic range of outcome, and that's about what he's contributed for you in 5 games straight. And, some of these games are not with the whole crew out, so Depot's looking like a really great play too. I'm going back to the soft projections. SGA came in top 10. Jimmy Butler's top 4. And Jimmy Butler's obviously the cheapest of everyone in the top 6, really the top 10. So Jimmy Butler's looking like the guy that I want the most of. But I also think he's looking like the guy that the field is going to have the most of. But it's just inevitable, man. It's hard to get around this Miami Heat chalk. I guess the ways I would navigate through this water is maybe, I don't really know. I was going to say limit overlap between like a tertiary guy like a Strus or a Highsmith, but it's just whatever. Everyone's projected so gosh dang good, particularly on DraftKings, that the Haywood Orlando Robinson $3,100 price tag. So we loading up on the Heat. It just is what it is. What up, Ego? Hope you're doing all right. Leonard's a better play than Butler because Paul George is out. I mean, if you're playing ownership, like that thought process can certainly be rewarding. Tonight, I thought I silenced that. Sorry, chat. You might hear some Slack noties. Kawhi, I have Kawhi at 43. Maybe I need to tweak that. but I don't know. I just got the Discord noti. Dang lazy mofo. That's my bad. I gotta get a producer. Yeah, I mean, ownership-wise, but it's one of those spots where there's so much value here. You'll probably still see a lot of overlap between Kawhi and Butler. But in a 1v1, if ownership is your tiebreaker, like I wouldn't talk you down off of that. The projection for me likes Butler still significantly more, but like I don't think that you're out of bounds for thinking like that. And B will likely have his minutes limited first game back. Is that verbiage that's floating around, or is that an assumption? What up, Mr. Singh? Hope you're doing all right. What are projections for Jimmy B? Right now, I got him for 53 FanDuel points at a 38-minute projection. What up, Vic? What up, Conscious? Hope you're doing all right today. You have Gabe Vincent at over 35 on DK. I have him for like 39 minutes, Brian. It's bad. So the model that I built for projections, like when stuff like this happens, when teams completely point games like this, when you could have 8 active and one guy not even get in the game, like it's hard. So like Gabe Vincent at 37 or whatever he's projected for here, he's not even a point per minute in that projection. The model looks at matchup, looks at total, and the minutes are a big part of it. Looking at this split here, Gabe Vincent 0.76 fantasy points per minute. I would say probably if Vincent has a lot of overlap with Butler and Depot, maybe that goes down. But let me see something. Calculator. The projection is not going to be perfect, but I don't think it's that egregious on the minute projection. Brian, let's see. What did we say? 39 times 0.76. Closer to 30. That's probably something we'll add some humanistic logic into the projection when I sweep through. But even at 30 fantasy points, you know what I mean, Brian? Like, if you knew right now $3,300 for Gabe Vincent would get you 29, which is taking his per minute production in that limited minute split. At that price, you take it. So yeah, the projection might be wonky no matter what, but still, like, how do you walk away with a projection that's not worth clicking on Gabe Vincent, unless he's just straight up out, and that's possible. Or is it? What up, Jack? No, he's probable. Yeah, so I don't know. Stacking Luka, Butler, and Siakam as much as possible. Yeah, I think it's studs and scrubs when this happens. It is what it is. What up, Craig? Could Hayes be a good pivot off of Oladipo? Hayes? Killian Hayes, the Pistons point guard? He could. I would assume Depot's floor to ceiling ratio is probably a little bit better, but 5,700 versus 5,300. The projection's not that far apart for me. But like I said, the projection for when teams do this is always a little wonky for me. Leonard's consistently getting over 35 minutes. He's much more efficient scorer than Butler. With George and Kennard out, Leonard should get 35-40 minutes. Cats, we'll do a comp when we get there. I think we're kind of splitting hairs. I think both guys look like great plays, and it's not going to be hard to get both guys in lineups. So, but I understand your line of thinking is if one guy's going to be 50% owned and the other guy's going to be 15% owned, then in tournaments it kind of makes sense to separate your field, shuffle from the field. Yeah, that's actually, that was actually a good guess. I just looked at ownership projections. Then you're just trying to find a little bit of differential, a little bit of leverage. But at the same time, like I agree with both guys being great plays, and it's not hard to get both of them. So it is what it is. Lost my house to a fire, but I'm living it. Yo, Vic, what? What? That's crazy, bro. That's like one of my fears, man. I live on a second floor too. So anytime I hear like beeps or alarms, I get crazy nervous because we have like one set of stairs to the ground. How many stars do you need to be stars and scrubs? How many can you get? On FanDuel, I think it's likely a 3-stud night with the value. On DraftKings, these scrubs are priced even scrubbier, right? Like Orlando Robinson is almost free on DraftKings. Same with Haywood Highsmith. So you're getting a better break over here. So it might be a 2-stud night over there. Usually you can only get like 1 stud and go from there. New Year has been good, man. Vic, I'll keep you in my thoughts, man. That's crazy, bro. Oof. If you have like I don't know, man. Are you on Twitter, Vic? Have you tweeted like a GoFundMe? I'd retweet that or something for you, bro. That's crazy. That's crazy, dog. I'm glad you're all right, though. It sounds like you're good. Hopefully the family's good. All that other stuff can be replaced. It's just that's unfortunate, man. My heart goes out to you, bro. Jack says, who $180 entry on DK? How do you feel about Biyombo? With DeAndre Ayton ruled out, I think it's fine, but Biyombo probably still has a lower minute ceiling than some of these Heat guys, but it'll likely create some separation. Let me see Biyombo. I'm not seeing Biyombo right now in my. I'll cover that when we get there. Buy 3 rope ladders. I'm just jumping it, bro. I've taken some bumps in my day. We hop in the rail. We hop in the rail. Somebody. I need 4 people to hold a blanket and brace yourself. We out there. Just trying to win anything. Man, I feel you, Vic. Butler's such a garbage 3-point shooter. It's hard for him to put a goal 45. I mean, real points, yeah, Brandon. But man, you gotta keep in mind, like this is Jimmy Butler we're talking about. He can make it. We go back to we spent a lot of time on this, but he's got 37% assist rate in this play, right? He can dish the rock. We know he can play some defense, get some of those peripheral hustle stats, right? Blocks and steals, especially steals. Averaging over 2 steals per game. What does that size up wise with the Thunder? Let's go to their team metrics. Just brace yourself, bro. I'm coming in hot. There is blocks allowed. Do I not have steals allowed listed right now? Or maybe turnovers. I gotta recode this and throw in some steals per game. Sarge to play now. Man, those are names. Sarge, Biyombo, that front court, that whole team is going to be worth taking a look at. We'll look at them in a minute. But, yeah, those are guys with a lot of volatility. But let's move on from this game. We're going to play the Miami Heat, guys. I'm sorry we spent so much time on that. Fantasy points. You think it's that hard to get Jimmy Butler to 45 fantasy points? I don't think so, Brandon. I don't like. Obviously, it's impossible to stat muse that, but he averages 1.3 fantasy points per minute, in just without Hero, Lowry, Adebayo, and I think this is essentially the same team. So put a little bit more sample size on that going to the beginning of last year. That 1.3 might even go higher, but it holds up still at 1.3. So go back to that calculator. Do you have Jimmy Butler for less than 38 minutes times 1.38 times 1.3 comes into almost 50. So I don't know, man. I think we're on different ends, but I like your contrarian mindset, bro. If you just say, hey, there's a 9K guy at 50% owned, I can get way different than everybody who's putting 9K to this player. I'll take my chances on him rolling an ankle or just not meeting his match. I think that's all you need. You don't need to convince me anything else. Mitchell's head back to Utah for a bit. All right, let's go Hornets at the Raptors. Next game on the docket. Projects 35 for the Hornets. LaMelo Ball, Terry Rozier, Jalen McDaniels, PJ Washington, Mason Plumlee taking on Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent Jr., OG Anunoby, Scotty Barnes, and Pascal Siakam. Why did Anunoby come in like this? Oh, you know what it is? For some reason, NBA.com has OG with 2 dots in his name. Just give me a second. You know, I'm OG. We did a fresh import before we went live. Butler has had over 45 fantasy points once in his last 10 games. Was there a game in the last 10 in this same scenario where 3 usage monsters are out? I don't think so, right? I mean, and also, you know, I mean, that's such a, like, Brandon, I don't know that that's the right way to look at that either, too, man. I don't want to get stuck on the Butler debate because, like, it is what it is. But come on, man, this is Jimmy Butler we're talking about. I would assume that all these other games he had, I know there's a couple games without Hero, maybe a game without Lowry. Was Adebayo down any of these games, like where all 3 were out? And all of these matchups are a little bit tougher. I guess the Lakers is not tougher defensively. 44. Let's see who played in that Lakers game. And you really got to put some credence to the situation here. Miami. Am I blind? Hello, Miami. Against the Lakers. Hero played, Adebayo played, Lowry played. Like this, the situation is so different here, Brandon. I mean, you are where you are. I'm not going to talk you on or off it, but I don't think your reasoning is fair for tonight's situation. Is what I'm getting at. Can you explain the math behind DFS a bit, Eagle? I probably need you to reword that. The math behind DFS. Miami's had injuries all year. Yeah, they have. And Jimmy Butler's had some pretty big games this year, right? I'm done with Jimmy Butler, Brandon. Hornets project starting 5: LaMelo Ball, Terry Rozier, Jalen McDaniels, PJ Washington, Mason Plumlee taking on Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent Jr., OG Anunoby, Scotty Barnes, Pascal Siakam. We got 229 total. The Hornets are 8-point underdogs here on the road. So it's kind of leaving the door open for this to go any which way. Pace-wise, Hornets are going to up the pace here. Their offensive efficiency really bad. I think it's the worst in basketball. And they are limping without Kelly Oubre, probably without Gordon Hayward. I think I had a doubtful tag on him, or at least I wrote him as doubtful. Let me double check that. So it's looking like a good spot for the Raptors. And one thing with the Raptors, even some of these games that do get lopsided, we can't necessarily just assume that they would not play their starters. Doubtful. So we do get a fair minute projection on everyone. I have 36 or more on all of these starters. I've seen you guys mention Siakam times in chat. I've got no pushback on really any starter in this Raptors lineup, but I especially love centers against the Hornets front court. 60 fantasy points per game, I believe, is the absolute nut to spot in all of basketball. Yeah, the most fantasy points per game against centers in basketball. Big spot. And one of the things that we also like about this spot is that they also give us some more defensive upside. And this is a pretty sound defensive team. We have 6.3 blocks per game allowed. Is that right? Which is huge for a guy like Siakam, who can get you some blocks. He also can get you a lot of steals. Yeah, the most blocks per game in basketball. So big spot for him to rack up those defensive peripherals as well. So I'm with you guys on Siakam. I got him at 54, 56 fantasy points. That's going to come in as one of the top projected players on the slate. Third for me in overall slate projection. And last time I looked at ownership, I didn't notice. Let's see. Siakam. He's coming in very reasonably low owned. And maybe that'll change going into this slate as more and more analysts talk it through. But this is a really good spot for all the Raptors, especially a Siakam. VanVleet, and like I said, nobody's in a bad spot. The DraftKings pricing on Gary Trent's a little bit more favorable. Maybe same with Anunoby. All these guys looking really, really good here. I'd probably set a podium where Siakam's 1, maybe VanVleet's 2, and then spin the wheel, make a deal on these other guys, maybe Anunoby, just because of his defensive peripherals being what they are. Good spot to load up on Raptors, I think. Barnes gets over 50 DKP points tonight. I mean, I can see that on any one of these Raptors, to be honest. Butler could go for 60. So, how about this? What has PrizePicks got on Butler? Because that sets like that's like a market line, right? 49.5 fantasy points. So I mean that's essentially they're projecting him for 50. So, and that's FanDuel scoring, which is probably more weighted for his skill set considering steals and stuff. But I can't believe that's the polarizing debate today. It's Jimmy Butler, but I guess 50% owned 9K player on a slate like this, whatever. Heard Emax say NBA DFS is a math problem. I understand that to an extent. I just want to know if there was a full explanation behind that. Yeah, it's a math problem with a lot of variables. So I think the more important weighted variables here is going to be price, projection, and ownership. You use those three. Really, projection and ownership is the best start. But yeah, man, it's a very complex, but it's absolutely true. Ego. Okay, so just for the Jimmy, like an example, Ego, and to Brandon's point, so Jimmy Butler at 50 fantasy points on DraftKings. He's coming in at 50% owned, right? At 8,900. So if you could find somebody like within 500 fantasy or $500. So Kawhi Leonard is the guy that Brandon mentioned. He's coming in a little bit lower projected for me, but let's just say he was projected within 5 fantasy points, really within 2 or 3, and comes in at a fraction of the ownership. Well, that's part of the equation where ownership versus ownership, where like in small field cash games, stuff like that, where you want some of that safety, you would just take the Butler ownership and the projection. But in tournaments, you want to be more unique than the field. Chalk, there's still going to be chalky players in the top lineup, but you also just want to not hold hands with the field. And if you find a way to get unique in some spots that have coagulated ownership, high ownership on a player that you just don't feel as good about, or you just think that another guy can meet or exceed his production, well, then you go there. So that's part of the math problem. But projection and ownership is probably what EMAC is alluding to. But it's like snowflakes, right? Every example can be a little bit different. I guess projection, ownership, and your projected probability of success. So let's say we think Jimmy Butler scores 50 fantasy points, I don't know, 30% of the time, but he's coming in 50% owned. Well, then maybe there's a 20% negative leverage there because he's over-owned in that sense. There's so many, man, this is like a course. I can't do it justice from here, but hopefully some of those thoughts and concepts are stirring the idea for you. Brian says, Comic Crazy, I think Gary Trent gets more fantasy points than Anunoby. I think that's very plausible. I think if Trent does it, though, it's likely on a lot of real points, right? 20 plus of them. What up, Mopar? Hope you're doing all right. Where the weed at? Well, excuse me? Sir, we are in a restaurant. What are you doing? Siakam sitting around 38% owned right now? Oh, then what the heck was I looking at? Or is that a FanDuel thing? Let me refresh. Was that a FanDuel ownership projection? I didn't see him that high on, but I would believe it. It's such a good spot. It must be FanDuel. FanDuel. Okay. I'm gonna tip you one of these days. It's alright. It's alright. You can tip me with that thumbs up button. Butler's really good on the second Tuesday. Stop it. Almost read that whole thing, bro. Brandon, you're trolling. Stop, dog. Stop. He should be 6,500. He's only 6,100. I'm done with you. If you got this game staying close, LaMelo Ball does have an opportunity here, or to be the catalyst in this game, being competitive with no Gordon Hayward, no Kelly Oubre. We've seen Dennis Smith Jr. ease back into the mix here. Cody Martin as well. No warm fuzzies through and through. And 10K LaMelo Ball. It's just so hard to click him over like a Jimmy Butler, stuff like that. But if you start to think contrarian, it makes sense. We've also seen Tay Rozier have some spike games to help keep these Hornets competitive. Was it that Bucks game? Yeah, he dropped 52 fantasy points. So wide range of outcomes here, but at 6,900, I tell you what, there's a floor ceiling ratio now with such a depleted usage, guys, that 20 plus shot attempts is a realistic range of outcomes for Terry Rozier. And that's kind of how you have to game script this for the Hornets. The Raptors are, I think they're the best team or top 3 in defending points in the paint. Not that we expect a lot of points in the paint produced by the Hornets anyway. No, they're not. They're top 6 in points in the paint defense. And we can kind of use that as a funnel defense to usher in more shots from behind the arc, and that's what LaMelo and Terry Rozier do. LaMelo Ball right now is averaging 20 shot attempts per game, over half of them from downtown, and the Raptors are just good defensively everywhere, but LaMelo's hitting at almost a 38% clip, so that's a pretty decent clip for that type of volume. The Raptors, let's go back to the team metrics chart. Raptors are allowing league average amounts of attempts per game. That's also correlated to the pace, 12.3 makes per game, at 36% 3-point field goal percentage. So it's an attackable spot, but I think we're just trying to create something from the Hornets here, and I don't think I see myself getting to much of the Hornets, if any, but I do like some Raptors quite a bit. Dang, my hot chocolate got cold chocolate really quick. What's up, random? Any word on Steph minutes limit, and can he still go crazy in limited amount of time to pay off? I'm doing a few single entries. I didn't see anything. I'm assuming he's limited. With Steve Kerr, you just never know. And then the way that team plays, if they're fully healthy, you also just don't know. I don't see myself getting too much stuff tonight, but that it is more just an injury thing than anything. It was a shoulder injury, so that didn't keep him off the treadmill, right? So I don't know. We'll dive into that a little bit when we get there. But it's Steph Curry, right? He could definitely get hot. Raptors defense has been garbage since Siakam got hurt earlier in the year. Even with them back, they've been bad defensively for a while. Brandon, are you just saying things now? Are you just saying things? What up, Kickstart? Let's see. Toronto Raptors defensive rating last, 40 games with Pascal Siakam. Will that give us something? 115.2. So in context, do you really love Lamp? Do you really love? So 115.2 would be, it would be below average. I can get by that. I do think Siakam at center could be a net negative, but I'm not that worried about the Hornets. It's the worst offense in basketball, guys. So Cavs at the Utah Jazz. Projects 35 for the Cavs. Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Isaac Okoro, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen taking on Mike Conley, Jordan Clarkson, Larry Markkinen, Jared Vanderbilt, Walker Kessler, Ranger. 227 total, 2.5 point spread favor the visiting Cavs. I'm coming home. Donovan Mitchell back in Utah is going down for real. So here's a pivot point, right? You guys, we've been on this Jimmy Butler debate. If Donovan Mitchell outscored Jimmy Butler by 10 tonight, narrative induced, are you shocked? And again, I think any 1v1 like that is not necessary, because it doesn't have to be a 1v1, because you have all the money in the world to get 2 or 3 of these guys, especially these 9K guys. But here's a pivot example, right? Donovan Mitchell is in a pretty lucrative matchup in a high emotion game where I'm sure he wants to put up some points here. And it's just been a really soft matchup through and through all year. Just a 2.5 point spread is kind of compelling considering the Cavs look pretty healthy. I guess with Olynyk down, it does shore up that front court defense. So I know we've been really high on how bad the Utah Jazz are at giving up points in the paint, but a lot of that is Kelly Olynyk. Walker Kessler certainly much better at interior defense. So maybe these numbers are a little bit fool's gold. But I'm loving the narrative here on Donovan Mitchell. So I'll get behind some 9.6K Mitchell on DK, 8,900 on FanDuel. I'll probably have to throw a little bit of oomph on the projection in my optimizer to get him more, because just the numbers are going to spit out a run-of-the-mill, get me over 44. But I do think this is a spike spot, so I'll have some extra Mitchell. And then on the Jazz side, if I want to run it back, I really don't want to run it back. I guess Larry Marketing on FanDuel still attackable, but almost 10K on DraftKings. I mean, he's certainly earned his way to that price point, but that's a hard click at this stage of the day, and that's literally the Jimmy Butler position, right? So I think I go Butler over Marketing every time here. But what are you guys thinking here? Are you guys loading up on D Mitch? Maybe I should have made him the thumbnail. And I'll get caught up on chat while we do that. Also, you guys want to help me out here with some thumbs ups? That'd be lit. Moose, hey Gun, what's your projection for Siakam's raw points? When you say raw points, you mean real points or like fantasy points? On fantasy points, I got him for 54 on DraftKings, 56 on FanDuel, which is coming in top 3 on the slate right now. So certainly looks like one of my favorite clicks today. You know how you spin a globe and lands on a random country with your finger? That's a cat's I don't cat. I feel like I don't remember cats being this hot takey. I don't mind the hot takes as long as we're respectful, boys. You can come at me with all the craziness. Just keep it respectful, and we're having fun. Is Aaron in? I think there was Aaron. I thought I saw him in chat earlier. Man, he showed up earlier in the baseball season to say Mike Trout's washed, and Mike Trout said, "Hold my beer." We had fun with that. It's all love here. Just keep it love, boys. Just keep it love. Put out a loop and everything. Had an air light drum. Yeah, man. Danglegs Mofo had some craziness. I ain't gonna put his business out there, but in chat today we got some people going through some life experiences. I've had some since New Year's too. I don't put my stuff out there, but it is we going through the season, y'all. We going through the season. We just gotta harvest and we'll reap in a couple months. Anyway, so Jazz side, us. I guess if we, I don't really see myself trying to force the issue on Jazz players here. Clarkson and Markin are like the two most intriguing if I had to get somewhere, but I just don't see myself forcing the issue here. We'll take Olynyk off the court just for the heck of it. Kessler would be a little bit more intriguing to me if it wasn't such a tough matchup against the Cavs front court. Here's a guy that can throw together some blocks and steals for sure. Sexton's still down, so maybe some minutes on Conley to get you to 30 plus. But like I said, this slate, Studs and Scrubs lineup kind of built itself right now, so I wouldn't force the issue. Let's go back to this though. Almost a 1.4 fantasy point per minute production for Markkanen. Maybe I'm a little light on his projection just because his production is so gosh dang high. 29% usage on Clarkson in this split as well. I think Markkanen, like I said, easier click on FanDuel at 8,200. But at almost 10K on DraftKings, he kind of needs to be that guy. And I guess that maybe that's more of a no, right? Nobody here would play Markkanen 1v1 over Jimmy Butler, right? And the only reason I say that is because Jimmy Butler was giving us. Oh, you know what? Let me bring that back. Well, that's still fair. Because Jimmy Butler was giving us 1.3 a minute, right? So Maybe that's more of a mathematical pivot than I'm giving it credit for. I'm getting, 45, 48. So, I don't know. That's close enough to the Kawhi. What up, Chester? Here. Hope you're doing all right. If you punch yourself and it hurts, are you strong or weak? Wow. Wow, that was deep. If you punch yourself and it hurts, are you strong or weak? Holy cow. Hoof. Hoof. Jared Allen's cheap at 62. Will have good matchup advantage here. Again, Cats, I don't disagree with your statement, but I think Vanderbilt and Kessler is a wall versus what we saw with Olynyk. Olynyk, I think, is probably the worst defensive front court. I don't even know how we would quantify that. You know what we can do? We can go to defensive rating for Kelly Olynyk. It's an imperfect process here, but let's put Kelly Olynyk in Azubiki spot for a second. Just kind of paint a picture. So again, imperfect here, but check this out. A 108.5 defensive rating for Walker Kessler when he's on the court. 116.4 defensive rating for Kelly Olynyk. That's so drastic that it's crazy. I'm actually surprised that Jared Vanderbilt is this high. But like I said, it's an imperfect process because it's kind of a team thing and it matters who's on with you. But the stats right now are probably misleading, I would say, at best, in terms of like the front court matchup being what it is, because Kessler is not Kelly Olynyk. God tried to off-screen me. Yeah, moving screen, bro. What's up, Absolute Power? Hope you're doing all right today. 3-man core. The Miami Heat, Wes. It's one of those can God microwave a burrito so high you can't eat it questions. I tell you what, that burrito will be so hot, but it'll still be an ice block in the dead center, bro. I still haven't figured that out. Yeah, the strength and the pain is of it. Yes, sir. Olynyk has played very few games this year. What? What? Yeah. Define very few. Rapid fire. These are top 5 wrestlers of all time. Y2J, Stone Cold, Triple H, The Rock, HBK. That's a good list. Man, I couldn't begin to. 39. He's played 39 games. That's very few. Brandon, I can't tell if you're a troll or if you're serious. He started 39 games? That's not very few. Utah Jazz record. So he has missed. So you're telling me the Jazz played 43 games. He's missed 4. And he's played very few. Hasn't played significant minutes. God dang it. Brandon, why are you doing this to me, bro? He's averaging 28.5 minutes per game. That's not significant. Previous years, he played 19 minutes per game last year. He played 31 minutes per game for Houston. 26. This is literally like one of his top minutes per game seasons in the last of his career. There's only one season this in his career where he's averaged more minutes per game. Bro, what are you saying? All right, I'm sorry, Brandon. You're derailing me right now. All right, let's get on to the next game. Phoenix Suns at the Golden State Warriors. Projected starting 5 for the Suns: Landry Shamet, Mikal Bridges, Torrey Craig, Dario Saric, Jock Landale. The Suns could be very different from this when they actually roll out a lineup. Warriors project starting 5: Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, Draymond Green, Kevin Looney. We got 229 total, 12-point spread in favor of the home team, Golden State Warriors. So Suns are down a lot. They look a lot like the Miami Heat here, but unlike the Heat, they are 12-point dogs against a terrifying home team that you feel like they picked this spot for Steph Curry. But with Craig and Shamit, we still got, I had GTDs on them, so let me see if we can lean which way on those two. Derek Carr, Jets next quarterback, maybe. As far as the top 5 wrestlers, man, I really couldn't begin to rank wrestler. Man, I've kind of been submerged in the wrestling scene. To right hip soreness, questionable play against the Warriors. Torrey Craig, I would say 1. You can start with 1, right? For me, it's probably Ric Flair or Shawn Michaels. Just a straight up wrestler that can work a mic, tell a story, and have a good match. And then you kind of go from there. Torrey Craig, sprained right ankle, is questionable for Tuesday, blah, blah, blah. So this roster could get even more flimsy when we get there. And then it's the backups of the backups of the backups, sir. Somebody had mentioned Bismack Biyombo earlier. I didn't even put him in the front end here. This is bad. I'm not going to have any comfort to project anyone on the Suns. I guess I would say Mikal Bridges looks like he could be the guy that plays 38 minutes here and maybe picks up some slack, but with no Ayton, no Chris Paul, no Devin Booker, no Cam Payne, right? We typically lean on Cameron Payne in this spot. I guess Shamit, if he did play, but from this far out, is that even worth the risk? Knowing he has a Q tag, knowing we have a lot of value right at the beginning of the slate. So I don't know, chat, have you guys settled on what you're gonna do with the Suns here? I'm open to ideas. Nah, we not attacking Brandon, but Brandon, man, that was such a easy to correct statement. It took me 2 seconds to prove you wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, do some research, man. Like that one was easy. I appreciate thinking different. I do. I think that's there's a place for that. But don't be different just to be different. You know what I mean? Like, it's what am I doing here, y'all? Paul. Let's take Paul, Ayton. I got love for you, Brandon. I'm not trying to pick on you. Chat, don't be mean. Devin Booker, Shamit, and Washington. I think that's so. Okogie comes in over a fantasy point per minute. So is Jock Landale. I think Shamit, Washington makes the most sense. These are guys that can score. We expect them to play from way behind. You might even have some of that all-star game defense in the fourth quarter where they're just running up and down. So, Damian Lee, revenge, Dwayne Washington, Shamit, those are the guys that I think have a chance at 20-plus real points considering the game script. If you guys had different feelings in your bad knee on the Sariches, the Landales, the Biyombo, sure. I think this is one of those spots where I'm, Suns versus Heat. I feel like I'm going to go the Heat side of the value, 28.5 minutes for a starter is nothing. It's not that. As you said that he's been playing some of the less minutes. This is literally the second most minutes per game of his career. And 28.5 minutes is not nothing. What are you saying? That's significant minutes to impact the front court, the defensive numbers that you're going off of. Yes, the Utah Jazz as a team, their metrics project as the worst points in a paint defense, but a lot of that is strictly because Kelly Olynyk is a traffic cone. I'm not saying they're going to be locked down defenders in the paint today, but we have to at least understand that only 4 games without Kelly Olynyk did not move the needle that much. Walker Kessler is specifically a different defender than Kelly Olynyk. There's an 8-point difference in their defensive rating. Not a perfect metric by any stretch of the imagination, but it's what we go off of. I'm just trying to say, put some context to the concepts that you're putting out there. I'm not trying to yell. I'm just saying, man, that one wasn't like That wasn't hard to look up, bro. Those are very accessible stats. I'm sorry. Where are the cookies? I want some cookies. What up, Wayne's World? Yeah. Damian been getting revenge. Let's go. He's playing very few minutes for a starter. Okay. Are you? No, he's not DeMar. I can vouch for that. Where are we at? 245. I'm sorry if you guys are newer to the channel right now. We got a lot of viewers. I'm not usually this mean. If you guys want to help me out, hit that thumbs up. By the way, for today only, for this stream only, you won't see this on Twitter. You won't see it in Discord. We're doing 20% off any membership offered at rundfs.com. All of our memberships come with credit towards Fantasy Cruncher. The year pass has $150 credit towards Fantasy Cruncher. The promo code is JAN10. That's January 10th. You punch that in the coupon code thingy. It goes to $479.20 for the year. That's the rest of basketball, the rest of NFL, all of baseball, pretty much the entire NFL season next year, the beginning of basketball. It's everything. And you get that credit towards Fantasy Cruncher. We have a Discord full of grinders at every bankroll level. We literally got millionaires in the Discord, right? Our boy Always Be Placing's won a million maker twice. NFL, golf, I'm in there. We got people grinding quarter arcades. We got people grinding single entries. We got your boy Raj still in there every day. Yo, trying to put together that parlay because he got banned in Canada. So, you know, no matter what your bankroll level or your skill level or your experience level is, man, we got somebody in there for you to get along with. So we mean it when we say that. Like if you only play quarters or whatever, cool. There ain't no egos here. We just chilling. So that also comes with access to all of my spreadsheets, NBA, baseball, NFL. I think the NBA one's good. I think baseball is probably my best creation, the spreadsheet for that. And then, of course, every day, as long as I'm free, I'm in the pre-lock voice chat. Usually Sundays, I take the day off after NFL locks. But that's about it, right? So if you do get in there today after the stream, I'll be here in the NBA voice chat. You guys can chill out with this. I might try and steal a shower in between the stream and the voice chat, but I'll also dress up my projections, my player pool. So code JAN10, 20% off everything, week pass, whatever, and we'll go from there. Just block dude. No, I don't want to block him because he's not being mean. Like I said, I'm not gonna block somebody just for thinking different. As long as you guys are nice to each other, it's whatever. But like, you know, context to the concepts. That yeah. Let me get caught up. No planet resembling planet Earth is 28.5 minutes a lot for a starter. Have you heard of Christian Coloco or anyone on the Thunder front court? No blocking. I'm not gonna. Yeah, we chilling here, man. I'm fine. You gotta have a little friction. That's why I had Raj on the show last year, right? It was just I need the hot takes. Magic at the Blazers. Project 35 for the Magic. Markelle Fultz, Gary Harris Jr., Franz Wagner, Paulo Banchero, Caro, Wendell Carter. Taking on Damian Lillard, Anthony Simons, Josh Hart, Jeremy Grant, Yusuf Nurkic. 228.5 total. 8-point spread in favor of the home team, Portland Trail Blazers. So we do have a couple games here of Orlando Magic on this West Coast. Is this? Yeah, okay. I gotta make sure that it didn't just like play some copyrighted music. So Orlando's kind of cycled through their suspensions and whatnot. So I think the game last night is probably a good indication of what we might expect from a rotation. They did throw in a towel in the fourth quarter. Jalen Suggs closed out 24 minutes. And then they went Bombo, Wagner, Cole Anthony, Caleb Houston. But it looks like what you see is what you get. It's a pretty wide rotation. I think you can have 10 plus guys at 25 plus minutes and not be stunned at the end of the night. So no one on the Magic is going to project extremely well for me. I think Franz Wagner has some meat on the bone at this price point on both sides. Fultz on DraftKings is an intriguing click. Wendell Carter has some meat on the bone, but these are all just like average ROI expectations. It's kind of the same with the Blazers here. Damian Lillard is 9,100 on FanDuel, 9,500 on DraftKings. So in the interest of thinking contrarian at just the price point of guys like Jimmy Butler, is Damian Lillard outscored Butler X amount of times? Yeah, it's above 0, right? So you could look at him. Nurkic at 6,100 on DraftKings. That's an $1,800 price gap from his FanDuel counterpart to his DraftKings number. So I think that the DK definitely gives us a lot of meat on the bone. I got him almost 40 fantasy points at 33 minutes, and we saw Nurkic the other night really drive home a pretty usable number. I can't type today, bro. I might have to make another pot of coffee. 46, 48, 30. I would take all three of these last 3 games at this price point, if I'm being honest, knowing that, maybe 30 is the low end, and then 67. So we're starting to see Nurkic get into a groove here, and more encouragingly, we're starting to see him play some minutes up to 38, 33, 36. So this is a guy that I was trepidatious earlier in the season on minute projections, but it's looking like we have reached a happy place for him, and I guess as long as we can keep that steady, I think 6,100 on DraftKings is really, really nice for him. Favorite team in there, DFS monstrosity, the Magic. Yeah. What up, KJ? Can't argue. They'll drag you now. Nah. A dog was sleeping. I read one of Kat's takes out loud. She got up and left the room. My wife just divorced me. I read that. She thought it was my take. She's like, you don't know Kelly Olynyk is a bad defender. And I was like, babe, he hasn't played a lot of minutes. I'm just messing with you, Brandon. Hey, Brandon, I agree with that. Nurkic should be 7K. He's undervalued 6-1. Let's go, Brandon. Let's go. Brandon not getting shut out today. That's a good take. Brandon averages 3 good takes a chat. Sure, he takes 20 take attempts. Nurkic is only playing the 4th. Yeah. I love it. Guys, I didn't even do a drop. Y'all been so busy. Let's do a drop real quick. PrizePicks, presenting sponsor here. I'm sure everyone watching is already on PrizePicks. Get on over there. Sign up using my code Gundacker. When you do that, we being honest, they show me some love once a month, and they be like, yo, Gun, people from your stream, come here. We like that. Here's some money to help keep your content free. And in addition to that, they also help you guys out. Double your first deposit up to $100. So a $20 bill becomes $40, and so on and so forth. Now, today is a little something called Taco Tuesday. I believe we've already missed out on one taco, but more should be on the way. And what they do there is they essentially discount props that the community in their Discord and Twitter vote on. So let me go check out their Discord, see what the next one is. Chat, what did we miss on the first taco? Did anybody out there get in on that? I wonder if they did any. I don't know who the taco. Hopefully it's not something trolly like a Steph Curry. Well, let's go pull up the Discord. Hope the Bears trade for DeAndre Hopkins. He got married and got a dog. Nah, I didn't. I'm single. Some of you guys may not know that. Let's see. Taco bar voting. He chucks more shots than Dylan Brooks. All right, so it looks like the first one was. Here, I'll screen share it. Looks like they're actively voting on it right now for the next discount. They had a hockey taco, I guess. Boncaro, 20.5 points to 16.5, so we get a 4-point there. Kawhi PRA from 37.5 to 32.5. Damian Lillard 29.5 to 25, and Steph 24.5 to 20.5. I feel like Steph's gonna win that because he's Steph Curry, but hey, Boncaro's getting some love here. That's gonna be a good race. I don't really have a strong lean one way or the other. 16.5 points for Boncaro feels like it would be very easy to hit the over. So I'll vote for that. So if that wins, what you'll see is in a little bit later on today, when you open up PrizePicks, you'll see a taco on the very first one, and it'll be either Steph Curry or Paulo Banchero, and you get a higher probability of that player hitting his over, and then you could pair that with another pick on PrizePicks. So I'll try and get to a few of them together, throw them in the free Discord and in the premium Discord. I'm pretty selective. But yeah, if you're not on PrizePicks, I love PrizePicks for these medium to bigger slates. And you can play cards for multiple sports together. And if you're wondering, is this just like any prop betting site? Is it just like any other site where you could essentially throw multiple picks together and try to 20x? Kind of. My favorite thing about PrizePicks though versus those other sites is, one, you could bet first half stuff, and I think sometimes first quarter and second half stuff. So if you're actually watching the game, you can maybe get a lean on what you're expecting to happen in the second half. So like if we think there's some blowouts, we might take first half overs for guys that are going to be on the plus side of a blowout. For instance, Joel Embiid's at 15.5 points. There's a guy that's averaging like 30 points per game, right? Well, if we think the scoreboard's going to get away, maybe we get his first half over, and so on and so forth. And the other thing I really like on PrizePicks is the fantasy score projection. This is linear scoring to FanDuel, where you get the +3 for blocks and steals. So we're already researching who's going to be good FanDuel plays. I already have projection models for FanDuel. Jaden Ivey is at 26.5 fantasy points. We've talked about his usage increase in the absence of Cade Cunningham and Bogdanovich. I think that's something that looks pretty strong. And then Jimmy Butler's at 40.5. I think that's priced appropriately. But I like to shop through here and get on stuff like that. Siakam's at 48.5. I think that's pretty appropriate. But those are my two favorite leans to grab onto, is the fantasy points and sometimes the first half, right? Am I related to Brodus Clay Tires? No, but somebody once told me that I look like him, and I see it. I see it. I'm also told sometimes when I get angry, I look like Jack Black with the eyebrows. No LeBron on Taco Tuesday. Josh some Doom. What up, Travis? Hope you're doing all right. Brandon says, Butler has scored more than 45 fantasy points once in 10 games, and he has almost 50% ownership. Your takes are garbage. I don't know if you're talking to me, but see, that's what I'm saying right there, Brandon, is you're very selective in your reasoning. Has any of those games in the last 10 been without Lowry, Hero, and Adebayo? Short answer is probably no, and they're also failing to mention that the Heat could have a 8-man rotation with probably their best matchup they've had in a while. So if you start being selective in your sample size and leaving out impactful stuff like other usage guys being in or out, it's a bad process, Brandon. In my opinion, it's a bad process, respectfully. What else we got? My girl left me, took the kid. When you lose your house, by listening to your stream, I went, let's go. Oh, that's funny. Catch secondhand props on players with foul trouble. Yup. Definitely, if you got time to grind some live stuff, man, I think it's fun. What you got assignments for real points? By the way, we do have a player props tab in the spreadsheet. So, Anthony Simons, Control F, Anthony, and this is all from like an hour or two ago. I have him at 20.5 real points. So, in contrast to PrizePicks, and for me is at 20.5. We have very similar models, it looks like. Doing good, man. Dropping that hockey taco with Ivy fantasy points now. Let's go. Well, okay, let me see what I have Ivy for. I was just saying out loud. I have Ivy for 32, so I'm on the over. Ham Diallo. Was it a Ham Diallo game? Remember those? Ham Diallo, Sadiq Bey games? Those were crazy times. We were paying like $8K for those too. All right, Mavs at the Clippers. Main event tonight. Project starting 5 for the Mavs. Luka Doncic, Spencer Dinwiddie, Tim Hardaway, Christian Wood, Dwight Powell taking on Terrence Mann, Nick Batum, Kawhi Leonard, Marcus Morris, Ivica Zubac. 223.5 total, 1.5 point spread in favor of the visiting Dallas Mavericks. We got no Paul George. We got no Luke Kennard. We do have Luka Doncic on the main stage, the most expensive guy on both sides, and rightfully so. He's also coming in with the highest fantasy point projection for me, almost 10 points higher than the next guy, Embiid, Siakam, Butler. So that puts him in a league of his own. Typically, a slate like this, where we have so much value, especially on DraftKings, it kind of just, hey, why not play Luka? I can get him. Kind of the same approach here today. Plenty of value right now to make that happen. I do think that there's a case for those 3 9K build lineups, right? The Jimmy Butler, Kawhi, Siakam. Like, I like those 3. SG, you know what I mean? So if you think saving that 2.5K on Luka in some spots is the way you want to go, I wouldn't push back. I do that a lot. It's just those nights when Luka drops 100 points, they come back and get you. But 223 total. These are 2 pace down teams. The Clippers' offensive rating has been really, really bad, and they're without Paul George. Let me see what's Paul George's offensive rating here. Oh, I guess I don't have it because he's listed as out. What's the offensive rating from these starters? This is really bad. Kawhi Leonard has the highest offensive rating on this starting 5. So I guess if we're painting a picture for this game to stay competitive, that's how. The defensive rating for the Mavs, I think, has been taken a step back in the absence of Dorian Finney-Smith and Maxi Kleber. We've researched that before, and those guys are worth like 8+ points in the rating. So it's definitely worse than a lateral from this recent pivot. So I think it's a good spot for getting on some Kawhi here. 8,400 on FanDuel. Love that price point. 87 on DK. I think there's a lot of meat on the bone. I think there's some upside. Unlike Jimmy Butler, and I know Brandon's been preaching Kawhi over Butler. I don't hate the thought of that. What I do think is when we start doing check boxes here, Kawhi Leonard has way more help than Jimmy Butler does today. So, like, if Terrence Mann had a decent game, wouldn't be surprised, right? If Zubac contributed mightily, wouldn't be surprised. If John Wall came in, put some points out there. Reggie Jackson, like, there's so many guys that we can see scoring some big league buckets. With Butler, he's got to be the driver. So, I still fully expect Kawhi to be the guy here, but I do think there's more ranges of outcomes for his return to be mediocre versus Jimmy G. With that said, let's go pull up Kawhi and do a Wowie query. Hey, when I go Galaxy Brain, think Fade and Luka Smart, watch him. Absolutely, yeah, Jake. This year more than ever, it's just like, oh, he's just gonna score 100 again. Got it, F it. Because when a guy does that, then you have to have him. Let's put Kawhi on. PG off. 100 likes. We can do 100 likes. Yeah, man. 250. We haven't done that. Oh, by the way, we did hit 8K subs, so we're on the grind to 9K, which is, we got a lot of subs today. We got a lot of grinding to go. We're only 25 above 8K. Kawhi's 1.125 fantasy points per minute without Paul George, straight up. A 29% usage rate, so less per minute than Butler, but again, like, we're kind of splitting hairs here. This is still very, very valuable to have at that price point with the minute projection. And if you wanted to run it back in some Luka lineups, I think we can correlate that pretty easily. So late night hammer options here. I assume this is going to be a TV game, late game on a Tuesday, so hopefully it's better than the championship game last night, right? You guys got anything else? You got anything from this game? You got anything else from the slate you want to touch on before I get out of here? If so, speak now. Forever hold your peace until tomorrow. What is tomorrow looking like? NBA schedule. 272. Is 270 the record this year? I don't even know. When we get off, I'll see what it is. I think last year we were at 300 one day. But I'm super humble and appreciative of you guys because we didn't even schedule this one earlier today. Tomorrow's a big slate too. 2, 4, 6, 8. So 8 games tomorrow. Yeah, 6 games on Friday or Thursday. Oh wait, no, that's today. No, wait, yeah, today and tomorrow. Big slate Thursday. 6 games. Yes. Okay. Yo, we getting some good slates, man. None of this 2 games, 13 games, 2 games nonsense. Next Tuesday we got 4. Oh, we're in for a nice little stretch, boys. I like this. I guess it'll bring us to, what, Martin Luther King Day? I like this. This is good. I like this part of the schedule coming up, at least game-wise. I love the 6 to 8 game slates the most for DFS. All right, what do you guys got? And we'll wrap up. Well, I just seen Rob Perez tweet Luka loves terrorizing the Clippers. What a white nose. Does he? I think there certainly was a Luka versus Patrick Beverly feud when he was over there. I guess just for context, I think this is not a process, but just out of curiosity to fact check, FTP by game log versus Clippers last 10 games. Championship game was so lame, nobody's even talking about it. It's tough. What up, Ariel? Hope you're doing all right. Happy Tuesday. Big Mike, appreciate that sub. If you guys out there lurking, you're not subbed, hit that sub button, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, Luka's contributed essentially 60 fantasy points a game. There's a 53 and a 34. That 34 came in a sizable game, minute-wise, and then a 53 came in 41 minutes. So does have a positive history, including this year, where November 15th he dropped 61. So, I mean, we got him projected for mid-60s, so nothing here that's astronomically out of the expectation. We're just hoping it stays here, right? If you're fading it, if you fade Luka tonight and you expect him to drop 65, that's all right. You just stop right there, Mr. 12K guy, and then you'll be all right with your build. But oof. I didn't have much bank left on DCAM, save for a later slate. Let's go, Vic. Hope Lou doesn't do that Zubac guard and Luka. I do think we could see Kawhi on Luka at the end of the game. We saw that in San Antonio where they would pace it to where he wasn't exhausted early on. Positive variance, yeah. All right, let's get out of here, guys. Twitter.com/Gundacker. Remember, 20% off any membership today, any membership, with the promo code JAN10, JAN10, like January 10th. That's this stream only. You're not going to see on Twitter. You're not going to see on Discord. You'll get over $100 discount to the year pass and still keep the $150 credit. So if you rebate all that down, the year pass essentially comes down to under $300 if you use that credit. So big sale, I guess, in that regard. I'll see you guys on the next one, right? We'll probably try to run it back tomorrow. Tomorrow, hopefully, there's where I live at tomorrow, maintenance is supposed to come by and do like the quarterly checks and pest control or whatever. So like hopefully it's early in the morning, because I would hate to go live and then they bang on the door, blah blah blah. So if they come early, I'll run it back tomorrow, and maybe we can get a first look tonight, but don't quote me. It's been really rough. So hit that thumbs up on your way out, guys. I love you guys. Appreciate you giving me some of your time this afternoon. Tell somebody out there you love it. It's a crazy world. You guys in chat know that. I love you. Good luck. God bless. Go win some money.